I think first, Ross, is just to say thank you so much for trusting me in this process because, not everybody decides to do the deep inner work that I believe all of us has to do at some point in our life to experience more peace, joy, and harmony with people in our environment. But I want to ask you, when you first started to work with me, what was your biggest doubt or maybe even insecurity before we began working together?
The biggest insecurity was finding out something about myself that I didn't like, but I was prepared for that. But that was security, was the going into the unknown of what, and also excitement, intrepidation, all those things, all the above, a mixture, sort of a cocktail of that, that not really knowing what was going to find out and what that would look like.
Yeah, yeah. And I feel like that there was a moment maybe just before you signed up to work with me and that you may have hesitated. What made you say, right, I'm in, I'm fully in?
What made me say, or what compelled me to say, was I just had this wave of trust come over me that I could share pretty much at the time, and even more so since we've got to know each other, about how to get, I'm yearning to find out what my true authentic self was.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to get there alone, and I needed help. And it was admitting I needed help. The price, the cost wasn't really, it wasn't an issue. It was that leap of faith.
Yeah, yeah. And there's something about humans in today's world. It's so interesting that we forget our evolutionary backgrounds, that we are social creatures. We've moved in tribes for survival. We've never, ever done things alone. And yet it's so amazing today that people have forgotten for thousands of years that's how we've been. So I appreciate that and I appreciate you trusting me. So what would you describe as your top 3 results that you had from working with me?
What pops into my head straight away is inner confidence, being enlightened. And I think I used the word serenity, but I want to caveat that with I'm aware of the present 1,000% more than I was 3 months ago.
Really, I
I
really see that.
live in my world today, and I remember, and the words echo with me every morning, is that depression is your past, anxiety is the future, be where your feet are today. Make the decisions for today based on those core values that were in my chart, which was that I make decisions on how I feel, and those decisions are the most important. And also that I need time to reflect, so I go into my cave and take time, and I'm much more considered. People have said I'm a lot calmer to be around. I was calmer anyway, but calmer, much more at ease with myself.
You totally are, which I absolutely love. So what would you say that you appreciated most about the health concierge that maybe others may not see?
I think the things that you can't, it's like they say, you can't unsee what you've seen.
Yeah.
But you also don't know until you know, right? It's so I think that the thing that I didn't really realize was how powerful it would be. Like the everyday thinking that becomes normal. The new normal for me is this. And it's like a light bulb's just been turned on, and I see things before they happen anyway, because I'm obviously, was it manifesting generator, and I understand what that means now. I understand. I was thinking this morning, I'm ahead of what's going on in this situation that's panning out with my job. I'm in control of it, even though I'm not going, oh, crikey, I need to do this, I need to do that. I just know.
Yeah.
I know. And I know we've discussed it, and you'll countermeasure me with this comment, that you see faults in others, but it's how you treat that fault. You see things happening, and whereas before you might be reactive to it in a negative way, you give yourself grace and the situation grace, and you look that higher path. And I love the phrase you used on our first session, which that doesn't work for me. I say it all the time. Like I said it yesterday. I said, look, I don't want to be particularly friends with that guy. I don't want to fall out with him, but his attitude and his mannerisms are they don't work for me.
Yeah.
So I choose to cease and desist.
Yeah.
And yes, people might see that as blowing hot and cold. That's fine. That's their issue. And also the situation with my friend I told you about, I've done some work on that, and I literally have, just to coin a phrase, I've stopped giving him. It's not my problem, and I'm not going to people. So I've made a conscious decision every day not to be cowtailing to people that I've got no reason to, and let them in my head, as my mate calls it. So personally, on a day-to-day basis, I haven't got that tragedy going on of where anxiety's built up, and also I think it is a tragedy that if people can't share and communicate. And I've always been a communicator, but I didn't know to what level. Now I know that I was very, very good at being able to talk about things, but to really talk about things, not close. So that's the thing you'll find with this course, is that it will unlock things and it will make you swim in your fear, as I call it, or, you know, if your feet are treading water in the swimming pool and your feet aren't on the bottom of the pool, you know, how can you learn to walk, you know, and how can you get back to the side of safe harbor if you're just treading water your whole life? That's how I describe it to myself. That's my analogy.
I get it.
You need to have your feet grounded at the bottom of the pool. You can't keep treading water because you eventually drown, right?
Absolutely. And I love that you mentioned, you know, understanding about you as a manifesting generator in your human design reading that we did, because I think that part of you understanding how your body is designed by energy and those principles, and therefore how to use your energy more efficiently. I know that for you has been something that has really helped to connect the dots between who you are and what you're here to do. But what would you say to someone who maybe is considering working with us, but the top things that I hear that are resistance blocks for people are sometimes time or finance to invest? What would you say to that person?
I'd say that you can't put a number on your own well-being, mentally or physically. This isn't just about this isn't some form of counseling course. This isn't a life coach course. This is a way of yourself. It's a way of your own journey and self-discovery yourself. You've got to own it yourself. The tools are there. You can. I found that I haven't read a huge amount, Elika, about what you've given me, even though it's free. I'm much more articulate than I am literate. I like the practice of the thought and putting it in action. And I refer back to notes and go, right, there's my base camp. Yeah, I'm doing that. Yeah, crikey. And I notice even physically, in the physical form, you know, you mentioned about the crown.
Yes.
I actually genuinely feel the energy. I feel it. I feel it in my gut. I feel it in my solar plexus. I know when I need to go in my cave, even though I was going there now. And you made a very valid point that you will never be able to put a number on it, because I know people talk about the cost and the value of something.
Yeah.
The value I got out of this, there is priceless. There is no number attached to it, because I'm already living a better version of myself physically. I'm living a better version of myself emotionally. I was on a journey, but that journey's become much more a motorway journey than an A road, right? Because I've learned what I've chosen to take on board. But everything that I've shown in the pattern, it's I know you don't like mental. It's genuinely on the money, on the mark about what it says about who I am as a person. I can read it and it's like, yep, that's me.
Yeah, lovely. And I think that, you know, I just want to thank you again for trusting me. I would say to anybody that's watching this that we as humans have never done it alone. And sometimes we go on this journey and we try and find the really easy bit that feeds our ego and tells us that we're really doing the work. You know, maybe we get the dietitian or the nutritionist or the personal trainer, or we say we're going to exercise more, whatever it is. But actually what we're really avoiding is the deep, real inner work that really transforms us inside out, and it allows us to experience life from a new lens, which is more inner peace. And I'm just grateful that you've trusted me to guide you through that journey, because we can talk about it, but until you really experience it, you don't really fully understand the value for it.